Like, there's real monsters in the world, y'all. Brett Kavanaugh and Bill Cosby are two of the reasons why revenge horror needs to exist. Okay, so I'm not gonna talk too long on this. I don't want to ramble on and on, but I feel like, in between the reactions and the reviews and whatnot, it's one of the reasons why I love horror and the genre is because of the fact that it can reflect real life and the things that we go through, and art in general should be that, right? And this week has been dominated by the whole Brett Kavanaugh and Bill Cosby situation. If you don't know anything about those two things, you're living under a rock, and go look up some stuff. And I want to connect it though, because I know some people are like, that has nothing to do with horror, but we all know that horror has a tendency, one of the reasons why I love it is because it has a tendency to connect to the political, to connect to our everyday lives. And I think with these two predators, because that's what they are, they're symbolic of the reasons why we have movies like I Spit on Your Grave and other movies in that genre and whatnot, because of the fact of the need for some type of therapeutic release to avenge or show some sort of justice in a system, in a world where guys like Kavanaugh and Cosby rarely get the kind of justice that they need to get put on them. Where there's people that actually either excuse their behavior, find some way of telling everyone we need to have sympathy for these people, these powerful men who have basically abused their power or their privilege at some point in time in their lives, for Cosby, decades, and basically, we're being told somehow to see it from their perspective. And I talked about this in another video about the issue I have sometimes when I feel like some horror movies descend into, yes, a woman is usually the heroine in the movie, but she's also, and many of her other female counterparts are the ones that get the most brutalized in those in some of these movies and whatnot. I think that's a trope that gets overdone. But then there are movies that show women in very strong roles, in roles that basically say, there's a danger, there's a predator, there's a killer, there's a murderer, there's someone who's out to endanger me, and I'm going to outwit them. I'm going to overpower them. I'm going to find my strength. We see this with Jamie Lee Curtis, with Halloween, and the other movies that she's been in. And it just shows that in the world we live in right now, it is so important to have that symbolism of, strong women characters who stand up to the predators, who stand up to the creeps of the world. Like, there's real monsters in the world, y'all. There are real monsters out in the world, and they're not Freddy Krueger, and they're not Jason from, Under the Lake or whatnot. These are powerful people and good time out men who are true monsters in the real sense of the word. And I think, one of the great things about horror is that it, gives a jaded, sometimes broken mirror to what society can really be like. What we're looking at right now is the chance that this guy Kavanaugh has been put in front of this government and whatnot, and he may actually still be sworn in. This is the dystopian or weird purge stuff we see in these horror movies, y'all. There are movies that are just like this. I talk about horror and I love horror, but one of the reasons why I do love it is because of the fact that it uses symbolism. It uses sometimes the supernatural and sometimes not so supernatural to hold a mirror to society, to the things that we fear, and sometimes the monsters that we know. And I think, Kavanaugh and Cosby are an example of the monsters that we know, that are in the reality, and we need to understand that. We could talk about, you know, severed heads and things of that nature, but, you know, talking about one of the reasons why I got into it, one of the reasons why I love this genre is because of the fact that we can tell stories where predators like that do get their just due, the real just due of what they kind of deserve. Just a little, I don't know if this is B-roll, I don't know if this is a rant, I don't know, whatever, I'm just talking. But yeah, it feels kind of weird to say subscribe or whatever, or I would love your comments though. Like, definitely, I want to know what you think. And no, do not tell me to get off my soapbox. Do not tell me that this is a horror channel, you shouldn't be talking about that. Then you don't know what horror is about then, okay? If you think that it's supposed to be apolitical. It's not just about boobs and blood all the time. So that's that. And yeah, just wanted to say that. So, in any other time, be sure to subscribe, I guess, and let's get creepy together, but in a consensual way.